Jane Leader Janicek. My parents, former Pennsylvania Governor George Leader and Mary Jane Leader, spent more than 50 years caring for seniors and founded Country Meadows, an ecumenical retirement community. In 2018, both Mom and Dad would have celebrated their 100th birthdays. Hard to believe. To mark this milestone, we're looking at how my parents' values and influences remain in our culture today and how those influences will continue to move us forward. I hope you enjoy this glimpse as we embrace our past to pursue our future.
Mary Jane and I have been partners in everything we do for more than 50 years. I drafted her soon after we were married. I don't know how pleased she was at the time, but she's been working with me in everything I've done in the last 50-odd years.
I really enjoyed it. I liked the people, and I liked the people that I worked with. I liked the personnel that were in the homes to help us, and I think that was my calling, really.
We did not treat our seniors with respect and integrity that they deserved. My father felt very strongly about that. And so that's when I think the seed was planted for him to go forth in his later life and develop Leader Nursing Centers, Country Meadows, Providence Place, Ecumenical, etc. And so I see this thread that went through his life.
And he laid out before me his vision in terms of what could be done in nursing homes. He'd yet to think about assisted living. And I was so impressed with somebody who saw the person first, their needs second, and then the ways to do it.
You don't appreciate it until you don't have it anymore. But letting the kids get exposed for so long to the values and the virtues that my in-laws exhibited was a real gift. And one that will live on for a long time.
It wasn't until just after my grandpa died that I decided to take a job here as a caregiver. And I don't really know what inspired me to do that, but I just completely fell in love with the culture of Country Meadows, even more than I had just growing up here.
Well, I think their vision was making life as abundant for residents as possible, finding new ways of serving them, giving them choices.
When I was at Country Meadows of Hershey, when I first started my career, I couldn't believe how the mission that I had been told my whole life growing up was actually alive in our coworkers and in our whole experience for our residents. And it just made me feel so positive that that vision really was contagious and that people were getting behind it. And after 30 plus years, it was still alive and well, even though he and my grandmother were no longer on the campuses day to day.
I think that one of the enduring legacies of my parents' influence is really the focus on residents. I think that both my parents in different ways always reminded everybody that works for Country Meadows that it's all about the experience and the result from the perspective of the resident that matters.
Mother supported and the idea that the best thing that we can do, the greatest benefit of assisted living and personal care is socialization. She realized that people making new friendships and when they come to Country Meadows is a highlight of their lives.
Something that was very important to both my parents was that we created an environment that was lovely and comfortable, but not over the top, so that all of our residents would feel like they were in their own home or in a friend's home.
That translates into how we deliver care today, with compassion, with concern. They treated everybody like family. We always felt here when the leaders were with us that we were extensions of that same family, and that goes into our facilities as well. In a way, then everybody that comes and joins with us is a member of a greater family.
We have no other purpose for existing if not to make the lives of our residents better and to improve their quality of life.
He loved to do things that have programs that help residents be as active and independent as possible. He wanted people to be happy and active in their retirement years, and that's what we still strive to do.
Well, the independence was very important. Obviously, he did it in his own life. You know, he wanted that independence and the strength that he had, and he wanted to continue that for our residents that came to our communities. And the independence portion of it was to have purpose.
To provide, a welcoming, affordable environment for the elderly population while letting them be independent, have some say in their, their care, but also offering them the support that they needed.
Our workers on the floor, our PCAs, our housekeeping staff, our dining aides, are all of the ones that are making our residents' daily lives better. And being able to be a part of that and take care of them in their most private and intimate moments is really an honor, because they trust you and they open up to you, and that's something really special that not everybody's able to do. Not everybody's able to be a caregiver.
And you really truly have to love seniors and love what we do in order to continue, because it's very emotional work. It can be very physically demanding work, but the people who really get it, they're the ones that make the magic happen.
Way before anyone else did, we had the wellness philosophy, whereas other people were just building a building, and they're still doing this. They're just building a building. There are people who aren't even, aware of what caring for people is all about, or the healthcare field. They want to build a building and have people live there. So from the start, and this comes from George and Mary Jane, was the philosophy of wellness.
Resident first, understanding that our residents are multidimensional. They're not just physical beings, they are emotional and psychological and spiritual and physical.
We thrive on being on the cutting edge of what we do. We're constantly looking for programs that will set us apart and also give our residents an edge in staying active and independent and having purpose in life.
The government leader had so much energy. I remember it was at the opening of Country Meadows of Hershey, and of course the press. I was a member of the press, that everybody was like, "Where's government leader?" He was in an exercise room on a small trampoline, bouncing up and down and talking to people. And he was saying, this is why older people should stay active, and they should live here, and they shouldn't get in rocking chairs. And he kept bouncing and bouncing. We were all just mesmerized, and of course we were all agreeing by going like this, looking up and down at Governor Leader as he bounced in front of us. He was in his late 60s at that time.
So many programs have been offered throughout the years, really encouraging wellness not only for our residents, but our coworkers as well.
You have to have purpose, whether it's in our residents' lives or whether it's in our own personal lives. Every day when you wake up, you have to have a purpose. It's what keeps you going, it's what drives you.
So that desire to learn and constantly push ourselves, I mean, he was the one who always wanted the career paths, the continued education, the nursing scholarships. I think those are all things that were really important to him, because he knew as an individual, it was not only important to feel fulfilled in your work, but to constantly feel challenged and engaged, and that you could contribute more and push yourself, despite whatever your own educational background was. And so I think that's something that he instilled in us, and I'm glad that it's something that we can share with our coworkers.
I mean, he just was into people. He connected and saw beyond and believed in them and allowed them to believe in themselves and give them the opportunity and make it happen and not be fearful and not look back.
If you were in a position and you wanted to get ahead, they promoted from within, and they told you how you could go about, and even now, That's why we have these career paths and try to help coworkers get ahead and get a different job and get a better job and a higher paying job.
Whether it was the waitress at Bob Evans or the governor of Pennsylvania, he treated everybody the same, and he treated them with respect, and he took interest in their lives and made them feel empowered to be their best selves.
The foundation that Mother and Dad laid for this company has given us the capability, the insight, the team, the experience that we need to move in different directions in order to adapt to the changing environment.
I think my father had impact on the idea of continuously improving. That one of the things that we have to do is innovate and change, because if you don't change and get better, you'll fall behind and you'll let down the people you're trying to serve.
We've always prided ourselves in looking and pushing beyond that standard and not being afraid to take chances, not being afraid to make mistakes.
One of the things that was always clear to me was that hard work was the path to success, and that any kind of work was dignified. No type of work was beneath any of us, and that we should never feel as though we were too good to do any kind of job or clean up some kind of mess.
When we would move into new facilities, he would be outside in his overalls digging holes for bushes to be planted in order to make the open house happen, or he'd be taking plastic off mattresses with my mother and me, and we'd be moving furniture. It was all kind of fun for him to get to the conclusion and to see, hey, I did this. I solved this problem. I made this happen. I think from the time I was a little girl, I saw that my parents were very, very much drawn to and felt an important part of life was giving back. That old phrase, to whom much is given, much is expected, was certainly something I heard repeated over and over in life.
They were givers. They were the definition of philanthropy. The Bible says love one another, and they turned that into their everyday activities.
I see firsthand the discussions about how to take care of our coworkers and how important that is. It's not just about the bottom line. Of course you want to make a return on your investment, but it is about people. And that's truly a blessing.
Passion, love of other human beings, selflessly helping others.
He was real, and he wanted us to be real. You know, I mean, it's great because you can laugh, you can cry with the residents. I mean, it's okay, and nobody's gonna chastise you for that emotion. And I think that's what makes this company real. It's based on those good foundations, principles, integrity, trust, honesty.
I see Governor and Mrs. Leader's values still reflected today in the way we do business on a daily basis.
We have to know that if we look to our guiding principles, if we look to what's truly right for our residents and our coworkers, we can't really fail.
So if you talk about the quality, it's been there from the start. And another kudos to the family that's been continued. Those things have not been cut back.
The question is, do you understand what the real mission is here and why you come to work every day? 94% of the people say, yes, we know what the mission is. So I think it's pretty clear that, the residents come first.
So even if we were the best, and I do feel we are amongst the best in our clinical standards, if we don't balance that with creating a home-like, family supportive experience and truly a reason to get up every morning for each one of our residents, then we failed at quality.
We're always measuring. We have our quality measures. How are we doing? We ask for feedback. How was your stay? How was your relative's stay? Could we do better?
Well, what makes us different is that we're focused on the customer. And not everybody is. When you have financial partners, they're not there just to worry about the customer. They're worried about getting a return on their money.
So it isn't about how big we are. It's about what we provide within our buildings and our communities that far exceed others.
Integrity is everything.
You know, we're all going to make mistakes, and it's important that we admit those mistakes, that we report those mistakes.
And in a world where you're caring for very fragile people and you're regulated by the state of Pennsylvania, there's no room for doing anything but the right thing.
They recognize that everything that we do is only possible because good people have decided to join. Good people have decided to accept this mission to make a difference in the lives of seniors.
Working at Country Meadows is unique and special because of the way our coworkers are treated, the care that is extended to our residents, and truly being a community that you can be very proud to work for.
It is very heartwarming to see the third generation coming into the company and maintaining all the values that have been instilled in all of us through Governor and Mrs. Leader.
I see us continuing to be the advisors who are the experts on all of the different amenities and services available to seniors and how to best navigate that maze that faces our residents and their families.
He would be thrilled that they're in the organization and that they're looking at not just today, but where are we going to be tomorrow and next week and next year. So he would be really, I think, very thrilled that they're here. I'm very proud of the part that they're playing and helping to direct and guide the future of the organization.
My sense is that there are challenges ahead for the healthcare field, and particularly senior care. But I think that the values that have brought us this far will continue to serve us well.
And the foundation is very strong. It's built on the leaders' love for one another. Their marriage, their unique relationship, and the way they loved one another and their family and their company.
When you feel good putting your head on your pillow at the end of the day, that's when you know you're living a great life. You're doing something that you love, you're doing something that you believe in, and I do truly believe in the values and the vision of our company.
I said to him one time, I said, "Dad, I think you love your companies more than you love us." And he said, "Well, maybe." And of course he was kidding, I think, but it was a wonderful testimony to how much he cared about what he had established with my mother and how proud he was of it. And I think he would love to see it go forever and ever and ever. And I hope it does.